Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda
Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya
Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda
Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya
Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda
Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya
Continuing with Sri Chaitanya Charitamrta Adi Lila, chapter number 5, text 120. Seita Ananta Shisha Bhakta Avatara Ishwarira Seva Vina Nahi Janayara. Translation by and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. That Ananta Shesh is the devotee incarnation of Godhead. He knows nothing but service to Lord Krishna. Purport. Srila Jiva Goswami in his Krishna Sandarbha has described Sheshanag as follows. Sri Ananta Dev has thousands of faces and is fully independent. Always ready to serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he waits upon him constantly. Sankarshana is the first expansion of Vasudev, and because he appears by his own will, he is called Swarat, fully independent. He is therefore infinite and transcendental to all limits of time and space. He himself appears as the thousand-headed Shesha. In the Skanda Purana, in the Ayodhya Mahatmya chapter, the demigod Indra requested Lord Shesha, who was standing before him as Lakshmana, please go to your eternal abode, Vishnu Loka, where your expansion, Shesha, with his serpentine hoods, is also present. After thus dispatching Lakshmana to the regions of Patal, Lord Indra returned to his abode. This quotation indicates that the Sankarshana of the quadruple form descends with Lord Ram as Lakshmana. When Lord Ram disappears, Shesha again separates himself from the personality of Lakshmana. Shesha then returns to his own abode in the Patal regions, and Lakshmana returns to his abode in Vaikuntha. The Laghu Bhagavatamrita gives the following description. The Sankarshana of the second group of quadruple forms appears as Ram, taking with him Shesha, who bears the global spheres. There are two features of Shesha. One is the bearer of the globes, and the other is the bedstead servitor. The Shesha who bears the globes is a potent incarnation of Sankarshana, and therefore he is sometimes also called Sankarshana. The bedstead feature of Shesha always presents himself as an eternal servitor of the Lord. Om Agyanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. So Hare Krishna once again, and thank you for joining. We are continuing to hear the glories of Lord Nityananda Balram. And today, a few verses till 127, we will hear the glories of Ananta Shesh. That is also known as Sankarshana. And Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, he is giving us knowledge that this Ananta Shesh is the devotee incarnation of Godhead. Big difference, right? Devotee incarnation. And we also learn that he's a servitor. That means he serves the Supreme Lord and he waits on him constantly. See, when we go to the, I don't know, we don't go now, but when we used to go to the restaurant, there is someone waiting on us, right? And that's why they are called a waiter, because they wait and they want to know what do you want to order. And then based on what we order, they go and they bring whatever we want. And then they still wait on us, right? in case we want water or juice or anything else. Now, that is called being, waiting on people, like helping them, in other words, serving. Now, what does Anantashesh do? He's waiting on the Lord constantly. Not like, okay, guests have come, did little seva, they are gone, finished. Now I can do whatever I want to do. He's waiting on him constantly, and he's thousand-headed Shesha. We see one snake with one hood, and it's so scary, right? We are afraid. Imagine thousand-headed. It's beyond our conception, but it is there in Bhagavatam, it is there in Chaitanya Charitamrita. And Srila Prabhupada says that this Sankarshana is the Shesh, and he Ananta Shesh, and he descends as Lakshmana, younger brother of Lord Ramachandra. And when Lord Ramachandra goes back to his abode, then this Ananta Shesh separates himself from Lakshmana, and the Ananta Shesh returns to his abode and Lakshmana to Vaikuntha. See how it works. This is how the creation, which is brought about by Krishna, he's the one who um, is the creator of this cosmic manifestation. He has everything in place. Srila Prabhupada says, even the planets, what are they doing? Are they on the ground? No, they are floating. How? Because of Krishna's will. And Prabhupada says they never collide. It's not that one planet is loses its speed and then the other one is speeding and boom, there is no. Just like my husband was saying that there was a helicopter, I think, that hit the plane, and then yes, somewhere near DC, right? And then everybody died. Now, that was the error of maybe the pilot or whatever it may be, or the machinery or the instruments or whatever. But this never happens with Krishna's creation, that planets they collide and then there is a big bang. No. So, the two features of Ananta Shesha described by Srila Prabhupada in the purport, he says that one is the bearer of globes and the other is the bedstead servitor. We have seen pictures of Lord Vishnu laying down on the bedstead of Ananta Shesh, right? It must be so comfortable. And then the hoods are the one that are, kind of like an umbrella on the head of Lord Vishnu. And so from all this knowledge that we get from the purport and also from these different verses in the Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, we can understand the greatness of the Lord, all that He is. But when we walk on the street and we see a beautiful rose, do we ever think about the Lord? Just a small seed turns into a beautiful rose that is fragrant. I don't know, we don't really get much fragrant flowers in Atlanta. But in India, the roses, they are so fragrant. How? How? A small seed turns into a big banyan tree that again produces so many. How? This is how great Krishna is. And this Ananta Shesh, who is both, has two features, and the one that is bearer of the globes, who is holding on his hood, on his hoods, and for him it feels like mustard seeds. If we put a mustard seed on our head, we won't even notice it, right? Because it has no weight. This is how Ananta Shesh feels, even though there are so many planets on his hoods. That how powerful he is. And in this chapter, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is explaining that from the forehead shoot out Rudras. There are 11 Rudras, right? They shoot out from the forehead, and they are the ones who destroy the whole universe. And this all is coming out from the head. And they are the ones who shoot out, they become those 11 Rudras, and they annihilate the entire universe. Now, from Bhagavatam, we've heard there are two annihilations, one is partial, one is complete. When Lord Brahma's one day is completed, 24 hours, there is partial annihilation. But when his 100 years are completed, then there is full annihilation. And what is that equal of 100 uh, years of Brahma equal to our years?
300 trillion.
311 trillion 40 billion years. That is the duration of life of Lord Brahma. So the question arises, why is there this cosmic manifestation? If it is created and created and annihilated again and again, why is this cosmic manifestation created by the Lord? Srila Prabhupada gives the answer. He says it is for conditioned souls like us. Conditioned. We are conditioned to live our lives in the lap of Maya, illusion. And this creation is there for conditioned souls like us who get an opportunity to reform ourselves. See, when someone commits crime, they are put into the prison. For what? For what? Reformation, so that they can reform themselves, so that they can learn that they don't have to do what they have done because it is wrong. So, for us conditioned souls who have forgotten the Lord, who have forgotten we are spirit souls, who have forgotten we are from the spiritual world, it is for us that we come here, reform ourselves, take on the knowledge, reconnect with Krishna. To reconnect. Prabhupada says that bhakti is there within our heart, it just needs to be revived. We've forgotten. And because we have forgotten, that's why we are suffering. Now, this Ananta Shesh, who is the bedstead feature of Sheshanag, he is the eternal servitor of the Lord. Eternal means always. There's never a time. Like I was listening to Prabhupada this morning, and he was saying, it should not be that, when we are finished chanting, we think our job is done. I think even Guru Maharaj's quote was there yesterday or today, I don't remember, where, 2 hours seva, and then we think the rest of the day we can do whatever we want to do. No, it is eternal service. That means our mind has to constantly think how we can engage ourselves in service to Lord Krishna all the time. So, him being the eternal servitor, he has thousands of mouths, and with his thousands of mouths, he's singing the glories of the Lord. Many times I hear people say, oh, you say chant 16 rounds every day, but my mouth dries up and my jaws start hurting because I'm chanting for so long. 2 hours of chanting is very painful, right? It becomes like, oh no. And then the mind starts jumping here and there. Oh, let me go drink some water. Let me have some breakfast. Let me check my internet. All these are excuses. Here, with thousands of mouths, he's glorifying the Lord, and he's still not finished. He's still not completed. Because glories of the Lord are unlimited. You can never put a limit and say, oh, now 1,000 pages done, finished. Like when we finish reading Srimad Bhagavatam, we think, oh, we've done such a great job. Now I'm a Pandit. I know it all. How long it has taken us to finish Chaitanya Charitamrita? Of course, we're not meeting every week. That is part of the problem. But how many verses are there in this chapter 5? We are going to finish 127 verses today. That's a lot. I was hearing where Prabhupada says that Srimad Bhagavatam has how many verses?
18,000.
18,000 verses. And to really understand one verse of Bhagavatam, we have to study it for 1 month. One verse, 1 month. So when we do the calculation, that pace, we will finish Bhagavatam in 1500 years. 1500 years to understand Bhagavatam in true sense. And we are here, we think Bhagavad Saptah in 7 days, we have learned the whole Bhagavatam. No, it's very deep knowledge. So here, Anantashesh is glorifying the Lord with his thousands of mouths. And still, there is no end to the qualities of the Supreme Lord. The four Kumaras, the first four sons of Lord Brahma, they heard the Srimad Bhagavatam from the mouth of Anantashesh. And then when they repeated it, they experienced bliss. So much bliss and developed love for Krishna just by hearing and repeating what they heard. So when we are preaching, we should first hear. It should not be whatever is in my bheja, I just, sorry, not bheja. Whatever is in my head, I just blurt it out. No, we got to read, we got to hear Srila Prabhupada's lectures and try and understand, discuss with devotees, and then we can give out this knowledge to others. Just hearing is not sufficient. We need to repeat it. Many times I say this, our god sister Vishakha in Vrindavan, who is no more with us, she had told me that when we read or hear even one verse, then we should discuss it with 5 devotees. Then the actual understanding of the verse will happen. Otherwise, we'll forget. How many of us remember what we started with? We don't remember.
We started.
What? You have to think. No, not Chaitanya. What was the first verse that we discussed?
Sheshnag, the one.
Yeah, Sheshnag, but what? You see, it's on. Yeah, you only remember the verse number 120. This is our Kali Yuga memory. So after hearing, reading, then we discuss so that our hearts get churned. And then that soft butter of love for Krishna starts developing. So that's why it's very, very important to associate with devotees. So whatever we hear, then we need to give that knowledge to others. And Srila Prabhupada explains in one of the purports that this Ananta Shesha, he's the eternal servitor, but how does he serve Krishna? He expands himself, he serves him as an umbrella, as shoes, as his residence, as his slippers, as his bedding, as his pillow, as his garments, as his resting chair, his sacred thread, his throne, everything. That's why when we go to the temple, Prabhupada says the floor of the temple is Lord Balram. Mridanga, Lord Balram. Who is Lord Balram? Anantashesh. This is how he is serving. So, such an incarnation is called Shesha because he has attained the ultimate end of servitude to Krishna. Ultimate end. You can say the topmost servitor of the Supreme Lord. So he takes so many different forms so that he can serve Krishna. That is the only objective of Anantashesh, to be the eternal servant of Krishna. Now, Lord Nityananda, he is a part of the plenary part of Anantashesh. It's beyond our conception. We are only hearing, it's theory. But to really practically understand, we really need a lot of purification. Otherwise, it's just theory part that we are hearing. Oh, we have attended the CC class and we are listening. We'll eat some prasadam and go home, right? This is very, very, very high level of knowledge. That's why Srila Prabhupada calls Chaitanya Charitamrita as postgraduate level, because it teaches us how to love Krishna. So, if Lord Nityananda is the part of the plenary part of Ananta Shesh, how can we understand the pastimes of Lord Nityananda? His appearance day is coming up, right? On Tuesday.
Monday.
Thank you. Just making sure everybody is awake. It is on Monday. Appearance day of Lord Nityananda. So, from these verses, we can know the limit of the truth of Lord Nityananda. And what glory is there in calling him Ananta? But Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is saying, but I accept it as the truth. It's there in the scriptures, so I accept it. Why? Because it has been said by the devotees. That's what we learned in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 4. Evam parampara praptam, that we receive this spiritual science, this knowledge through disciplic succession, through the parampara that's coming down straight from the Supreme Lord Krishna. And because it's coming down through these acharyas, we have to accept that as the truth. What is the benefit of hearing in parampara? The authenticity of the data is maintained. There is no addition, no subtraction. There is no interpretation. There is no my opinion, your opinion, or any ideas. No. Because it has been said by the devotees. And since Krishna is the source of all incarnations, he can do anything. Anything is possible through him. Anything. So all these verses from 120 to 127, they are stressing on the importance of service, how to serve. Unfortunately, most people in this material world are serving their senses, serving their mind, besides, of course, serving the family and friends and relatives and country or the whole world, whatever it may be. It's okay, you're doing that, but what about service to the Lord? We need to serve Krishna. Why? Because he is the reservoir of all pleasure. We are all looking for pleasure, but we don't know where to find it. So, the best thing is if we serve the Supreme Lord, who's a reservoir of pleasure, then we will automatically become blissful. Then we don't have to try hard to find satisfaction here, there, or anywhere. Now, there's so much talk about service. One may say, why? Krishna needs service. He is Atmaram. He is self satisfied. He doesn't need anything from us. But the reason He is giving us an opportunity to serve is so that we can purify ourselves. Because when we engage our senses, our mind, our intelligence, our body, our wealth, everything in service to Krishna, then there's going to be purification. And once He is satisfied, we will automatically be satisfied. Jivera Swarup hoy, Krishna era Nitya Das. But unfortunately for most people, Jivera Swarup hoy, senses ka Nitya Das. Just serve the senses. Since time immemorial, we are trying to satisfy our senses, but they are never satisfied. There's a nice example. There is a bucket, and I'm asked to fill that bucket with water. I do, but the water doesn't stay there. Why? There's a hole in the bucket. And that's the problem with the senses. No matter how much we try to satisfy, there is no satisfaction at all. So, until and unless one accepts the position of servitude, that we are eternal servants of Krishna, until and unless we accept that, we will not find happiness. And guess what? When we serve Krishna, our senses will automatically be served. Just like we feel like eating pizza, we make a pizza, we offer it to the Lord. Does the Lord take away the whole pizza? No, it's still there, but now it's prashadam. It's blessed. We still get to eat it. We still get to satisfy our senses after satisfying the senses of the Lord. Now, the question is how to come to the stage of being a servant, not just a servant, eternal servant of Krishna. We need training and guidance. Training and guidance from a bona fide spiritual master who can show us. Srila Prabhupada has given us the whole process. All we need to do is put it into practice. It's very simple. Even Guru Maharaj says that if we chant our 16 rounds every day attentively, if we follow the four regulative principles, if we eat only Krishna Prasadam, we'll go back to Godhead. Can it be more simpler than this? No, not at all. But to be able to do that, it's not easy to chant attentively. Most of the time we are rushing because we got to get it over with. It's a burden on our shoulders that we need to somehow, oh, I have to finish. So when that burden is there, where is there going to be attention? Right? So for that, we need training. We need also to have good association of devotees. We also need to understand the importance of chanting. And when we get this knowledge, when we learn, understand this knowledge, and we want to give it to others, we have to make sure we are setting good examples, right? Like I'm out there giving this knowledge, and I am saying, my whole motive is to give the knowledge to someone else, that it's not good to be angry. And I'm saying, don't be angry. I'm like, excuse me, first you control your anger before you give this knowledge to others, right? So we have to set good examples. I had heard this very powerful sentence that the spiritual master is known by the behavior of the disciples. Can you believe that? We have so much responsibility to be ideal disciples, to set such examples that when someone sees us, they say, oh, they are the disciples of Gopal Krishna Maharaj. Wow, this is how it should be seen. But that needs service attitude, following the instructions of Guru and Krishna, and serving. Service doesn't mean, we take something like serving prashadam, that's also service. But service also is giving this knowledge to others, and service attitude will help us to progress spiritually. Why? Because then we are taking a very low position, right? Not that boss position, I'm the master, I'm the boss. No. So when we are taking that position of a servant, then automatically humility develops. And then that brings about happiness. And when we serve other devotees, they are happy, and that makes us happy. So we should keep looking for opportunities to do service. I was listening to Janardhan Maharaj's class on Facebook, and he said, it is blissful to serve. I mean, he said it is blissful for him when he comes to Atlanta and sees our service. It's blissful for him. And he mentioned Atlanta. He said because they are serving, they are cooking, they are cleaning, they are doing laundry, they are helping arrange programs, they are driving me around. And that gives, he says, that is blissful. We are also blissful because we get an opportunity to serve, right? And by that service attitude, what happens, then we are trying to do more service. But we have to be careful that when we are trying to serve, that we are not depriving others of the service. Does that make sense? We're not depriving others. No, everything should be for me. I have to do everything now. We have to give opportunity to everyone. So I was so pleased to hear that he had a blissful trip to Atlanta. So we should all take advantage of devotee association, because with association we will be able to polish our ability to serve. Even hearing the class is service, right? We are sitting down, we are using our valuable time to hear about the Lord. That is also service. So Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says that he accepts everything because it has been said by the devotees. And devotees do not speculate. They give the knowledge as it is. No change at all. So we are very, very fortunate that we have access to Srila Prabhupada's books, and because of all the conditioning that has been there since so many lifetimes, at least now we have an opportunity to improve, to become more spiritually enlightened, to become more purified, to remove the conditioning. What's the conditioning we have? I am this body. This life is meant for enjoyment, sense enjoyment. I have to satisfy my senses, my family, and I'm going to live forever. And this is my permanent home. This is all conditioning. And it's also opposite of every all that we are not this body. This is not our home. Family is not forever. Body is not forever. Everybody is going to die. Bhagavad Gita says, for those who have taken birth, they are sure to die. And after birth, they are sure to be born again. Unless we break the cycle of birth and death. So we are very fortunate that we have shown interest in spirituality, and we have been exposed to Krishna consciousness. We have association of devotees. So all that we need is what? Two things we need if we don't have it. What do you think? Sincerity and seriousness. Two things. The purpose of being in this material world is not to look for satisfaction, happiness, to fulfill all my desires, no. This chapter is teaching us about the cosmic manifestation. We need to understand what is the purpose of this whole creation, right? We should not think the purpose of this creation is to eat, sleep, and be merry. No. Yes, we want peace, we want love, we want happiness. But if we dovetail our activities to Krishna, all these will automatically come to us. Because we've forgotten Krishna, then we have forgotten how to be happy. Because we have lost touch with the reservoir of happiness. So that is why the problem has come. So thanks to Srila Prabhupada that he has given us these books from where we can understand the purpose of human form of life. Take on this knowledge, contemplate on it, and put it into practice. That's a 3-step. Sambandha, Abhideya, Prayojana. That's it. Isn't there something called SAP in your software language, right? But that's not what SAP, the scriptures are talking about. Sambandha, Abhideya, and Prayojana. So now that we have knowledge, we should make sure that we stay away from Maya, which is illusion. And if that requires change of our lifestyle, then we should make that change. So these scriptures, they are actually teaching us how to transform our lifestyles, how to purify our consciousness, right? And what is the problem? Problem is lack of determination, laziness, no patience, no tolerance, lack of humility, lack of enthusiasm, lack of compassion for other living entities, everything. And Srila Prabhupada, in one of the purpose, he says, Ananta Shesh, he is in charge of false ego. And we have the conditioning, I am the enjoyer, and this whole world is meant for my pleasure. Prabhupada says that is contaminated consciousness. So, from these few verses, we see the glories of Ananta Shesh, so we can pray to him to please help us to remove false ego. He is in charge of the propensity to be controller, which is there inherent in us. We are born with it. As soon as we are born, we want everyone's attention. Some will have the junjuna, what is that junjuna called? Rattle, right? Rattle, trying to um, um, entertain us, right? So many toys. You In my days nothing was there, but nowadays you find those mats on which you put the child, and then on top there is an umbrella with all things hanging, with music and lights and entertainment. Why? I am the enjoyer. Entertain me. I'm born. Look at me. The special person, is taken birth in your home. Entertain me. That tendency is there right from birth. I want to enjoy. But here we can pray to Ananta Shesh to help us to become servants of Lord Krishna. That should be our deep aspiration. Nothing but to serve Lord Krishna. But if we are in illusion, if we get, if Maya attacks us, then we lose connection with Krishna. And then when we lose connection with Krishna, then we are not happy at all, right? So if we start chanting with attention, like Prabhupada says, when we are chanting, we are calling out to the Lord to please engage me in your service, right? So when we do in that consciousness, then Krishna also is going to reciprocate with us. Otherwise, it'll just be some vibration, right? We are just vibrating. It's not, yes, it is having effect, but the full effect comes when it is pure chanting. So when we chant with attention, then we will be able to progress. So let us pray to Ananta Shesh to help us become serious on this path of bhakti, so that we can take up this bhakti yoga process very sincerely. Like today's Ekadashi. What is Ekadashi meant for? To have a feast, to prepare as many items we can, those delicious items so that we can satisfy our senses? No. Ekadashi is a day of austerity. It's a day of Lord Hari, where we should spend as much time as possible hearing, reading, chanting, associating, all that as much as possible. You see, Ekadashi is an austerity for the body, because now we are starving the body, which is actually good scientifically, right? Give rest to the digestive system. Otherwise, we just keep dumping, like Prabhupada says, like a trash can, we just dump anything, everything that comes our way while walking. No. So it is an austerity of the body, where, of course, in the Bhagavad Gita, in the 17th chapter, Krishna talks about verse 14 onwards about austerities. He says the austerity of the body is to keep it clean inside out, to worship the Supreme Lord, to worship the spiritual master, to worship the superiors like parents, elders, to lead a simple life and a celibate life. That is austerity of the body. Now, austerity of speech is to always speak the truth, but it has to be beneficial and it should be pleasing and not agitate others. This is how the truth has to be presented. And of course, austerity of speech is also to recite the Vedic scriptures, to chant. What about austerity of the mind? Simplicity, satisfaction. You see, the problem comes, there is no satisfaction because we have so many expectations from everybody except ourselves. We don't expect anything from ourselves. We think we are number one class, A1. We are the topmost. We are the best. Wasn't there a song? I'm the best, I'm the best, I'm the best. So we have no expectations from ourselves, but we have from everybody else around us. We expect them to talk in a way, such a way, sit in such a way, behave in such. Then those expectations are not met, then there is frustration. So where's the satisfaction? We got to be satisfied no matter what, whatever the situation, whatever the miseries, whatever the problems, whatever is going on in our lives, we have to be satisfied. Why? Because from Bhagavad Gita, we understand that whatever actions we have performed in the past, right now we are facing the reactions. It's karma. Like in Christianity, they say, as you sow, so shall you reap. So Prabhupada says, if you sow lemon seeds, how can you get a mango? Not possible. We will get a lemon because that's what we have sown. So the austerity of mind is satisfaction, gravity. Gravity doesn't mean you just make a face and sit there. No, gravity. What do you think gravity means? Seriousness. You have to be serious about this human form of life, serious about going back to the spiritual world. Self control and purification, purification of mind, senses, and also intelligence. So, on this day, we can beg Ananta Shesh to help us in Bhakti Yoga. And Monday is Lord Nityananda's appearance day. So, he's the Adi Guru. So we can beg him to help us become more Krishna conscious. See, it's an opportunity for us to chant more, do some seva. Like there's going to be nice abhishek in the evening, go for Mangalarti in the morning, right? When it's our birthday, what do we expect? People to start calling us from midnight. Let's see who calls me first. That's my best friend who calls me first sharp at midnight. I'm not giving you ideas, but I'm just saying this is what people think in general, right? Because that gives satisfaction. So when it is Lord's birthday, his appearance day, shouldn't we be there to greet him at 4:30 in the morning, right? With in association of so many devotees singing and chanting and dancing and finishing our rounds over there. So this is how we can show our love for the Supreme Lord. So I'm going to end now. Eh, If anyone has any questions or comments, you're welcome to ask.